You just paid off your Disney cruise, and now what? Before you begin to pack, there are some other preparations that you're going to need to make. I'm planning for an upcoming cruise on the Disney Fantasy. Even though it's several months away, there are still a variety of things that I can do to not only build excitement, but also prepare me for a magical time. First, you're going to want to make sure that you have downloaded the Disney Cruise Line app. The section that says My Plans is going to tell you a crucial piece of information. It's going to tell you when you can book excursions and onboard activities, and it'll even give you the upcoming itinerary. There are levels to when you can actually book for your upcoming trip. If you're a first-time cruiser, you can book 75 days in advance. For returning cruisers in the Silver Castaway category, you can book 90 days in advance. For Gold Castaway members, you can book 105 days in advance. And for Platinum and Concierge, you can book 120 days in advance. But those who have cruised multiple times probably know this. It's the first-time cruisers that I'm referring to here. You need to understand that you are booking last. So it's super important to be prepared and have some flexibility with your expectations when you're booking excursions as well as onboard activities, because you are the last category to book. As a first-time cruiser on the Disney Cruise Line, it's also important to note that you will not necessarily be able to do every single thing you want to on the cruise. There is literally so much to do. So it is okay if you do not get your first or second choice on shore excursions or onboard activities, because that just means you're going to have to book another cruise. Now, even though I've already said to make sure you download the Disney Cruise Line app, you will also still want to use the website online, because you can really get a chance to look at all of the different shore excursions that you could do in the different ports of call, as well as Castaway Cay. And you can get full descriptions if you're using the online version of the Disney Cruise Line website. So make sure to check that out in advance. Not only will you see the prices for the different excursions, but the age requirements. Some of the excursions do require you to be a certain age. You'll be able to see which ports of call have which type of excursions, and kind of get an idea of how much you might want to spend above what the original cruise price is, because excursions, even some of the ones on Castaway Cay, are an additional price. Next, you're going to want to know how many nights your cruise is. And this is important because you'll want to plan your wardrobe, not only your daily attire, but also your evening attire for dinner. Now, some cruises, like the one I'm going on, is 7 nights, and you are going to have a formal and semi-formal night in addition to pirate night. And I'm also going on a specialty cruise, so I'm going to have a Pixar night. So that's 4 nights of something a little bit more than casual. Now, before I go ahead with that, I want to note that some people really go above and beyond, for example, on pirate night. If you do not feel comfortable with doing that, that's okay too, because there is really a wide range of people. People that have nothing, people that have maybe a simple t-shirt, all the way up to full-on pirate attire. Now, I'm someone that does like to dress up and kind of really get in the moment of the Disney cruises, and so I'm definitely going to be dressing up for pirate night, and I'm going to be trying to plan that now with the Halloween season being upon us. I'll be able to have probably a little bit more selection than other times of year. So it's also nice if you're planning ahead for your cruise to kind of see where your cruise is in relationship to holidays like Halloween, where you might be able to pick up some additional attire and things to kind of spice up your days on the cruise line. Speaking of attire, prior to obviously packing, you're going to want to figure out how fancy you want to be. Now, for formal night, you do want to dress a little bit more casual than everyday cruise wear. And some people, again, really go above and beyond and dress really like head to toe, you know, like looking fabulous. And, you know, some people just kind of have a nice dress or a nice shirt and tie. But you know, take into consideration the different restaurants that you might be visiting and maybe try to match up your attire to the restaurants. Have a little fun with it, because where else can you have extra fun than on a Disney Cruise Line? On the Disney Fantasy, you have Enchanted Garden, the Royal Court, and Animator's Palette. And I think that for Animator's Palette, I definitely want to go with some bright colors. So I'm working on planning my attire for that. But for the others, they kind of like speak of a little elegance. Royal Court, we have a little bit of princessy themed kind of atmosphere. So I'm gonna try to look for something a little princessy. Again, you don't have to match the restaurants that you're going to, but now is the time while you're pre-planning to figure out, you know, maybe if you want to be a little extra on this cruise. While you're thinking about extras, you may also want to consider if you want to eat at one of the specialty restaurants on board. The Disney Fantasy has Remy and Palo, and these are both additional charges. Unlike the regular main dining rooms that are all included in your cruise package, if you want to go into Remy or Palo, you're going to need to pay a little extra. Now, I have had Palo dinner before, and I will definitely say I felt that it was worth the additional price. It is delicious. It is a great experience. It's for 18 and older only, so it feels like a little exclusive if you want to kind of get away from some of the kid feel of the ship. I would highly suggest it. This time, I'm going to attempt to book Palo brunch because I haven't done that before. And I'm not a first timer, but I'm kind of in the beginning categories of when I can book. So fingers crossed that I'll still be able to book that when my time comes. So because we're still in the prep area and my booking window has not opened yet, but other booking windows have, there might not be a reservation available by the time it gets to me. If that is the case, I'm going to maybe note that I want to eat at Palo and maybe pick a night that I want to eat. And the first thing that I'm going to do when I board the ship is find out if they have any availability. So sometimes, even if availability is not there on your booking window day, it is possible that you can get availability once you board the ship. So always keep that in mind and don't stress if you don't get it on booking day. In addition to planning what excursions you might want to do and what outfits you might want to wear, it's also a good time while you're waiting for your booking window to open to take a look at the itinerary that will be on your cruise sailing. We have several days at sea, and I definitely love days at sea. I use this as a chance to explore the ship and do a bunch of onboard activities. We've done trivia, we've done a drawing seminar, and there are plenty of onboard activities that are included in the price of your cruise. Now is the perfect time for you and your family to explore the ship a little bit. So go on to the Disney Cruise Line website and take a look at the ship that you're traveling on. Kind of get a feel of what the ship is like, where things are located, especially if you have younger children and you want to take them to the Oceaneer Club. Just kind of get an idea of the ship, because once you get on board, it kind of can be overwhelming, and this will give you the chance to really figure things out before you get there, and you'll have a general idea of the different locations, whether it's the kids areas or the adult only areas or shopping or the theater. You'll have an idea, the pools, you'll have an idea of where you want to go. And it's the perfect time to kind of get your whole family, including yourself, excited for your upcoming trip. Now, once it's booking day, once your booking opens according to which level you're on, and again, FirstTime Cruisers, that's 75 days before you travel, you will want to be prepared. Booking opens at midnight, and you can bet that people in the know will be on at midnight. So this is midnight Eastern Standard Time. You want to make sure that you are on just prior to that. Pour yourself a cup of coffee in your favorite Disney mug and get excited and get ready to book what you can. Now, again, keep in mind, if you can't book everything, that's okay too. But good luck. So these are just a couple things that you can do to prepare for your upcoming cruise on Disney Cruise Line. Now, planning is part of the fun. Make sure that you include everyone in the planning, unless of course it's a surprise for someone, but include everyone in the planning. Include everyone in deciding, is everyone going to be dressing up for pirate night? Or for the restaurants, are you going to be matching? Is everyone going to do their own thing? Planning is part of the fun. Get everyone's input on excursions. Does anyone want to do excursions? Sometimes I just stay on board the ship. Depends what port of call we're at, and just explore the ship a little bit more. Sometimes that can be fun, but get everyone in on the planning. Make planning part of the trip, not just a part before the trip. Your next most important date is 30 days before sailing. This is when you want to get your online documents in order. You're going to be filling out your information. If you have a younger child that's going to be going to the kids club, you're going to be uploading some documents to the Disney Cruise Line website, and then adhering to any kind of health precautions they have at the time. They keep changing, so you definitely want to check on the Disney Cruise Line website to see what the current process is about 30 days before you sail. At this time, you will also set a port arrival time, and this is flexible to you. I enjoy the earlier port arrival times. I like getting on the ship, going and getting some lunch on the ship, because I feel once you step foot on the ship, vacation starts. So I like to go grab lunch and then explore the ship. It's one of my favorite things to do. So I usually like to get there early, but you don't need to get there early to enjoy the food and the ship. So pick a port arrival time that'll work for your family, and take into consideration if you're traveling from Orlando or outside of Port Canaveral that you want to take plenty of time to get there from Orlando. It's about an hour without traffic, so just take into consideration what time you're leaving and allow plenty of time to get there so you're not rushed and so you're not panicked before you get to the ship. But that comes a little bit later. Right now, you just want to make sure you plan a good port arrival time for you and your family. And again, take into consideration if you want to spend the day in like Disney Springs before you head to the ship, just make sure that you are there before the ship pulls away. So when you go to book your port arrival time, they won't give you a port arrival time that's too late for the ship. So, but you want to make sure that you do arrive at your port arrival time. They don't always allow people to come on before their port arrival time. So if you get there really like a lot before your port arrival time, just, know that you might be turned away. Or maybe some pixie dust and you'll be allowed on. All right, so those are a few things to get you started. If you are planning your first Disney cruise and you've paid it off and now you're like waiting, what do I do before I have to start to pack? So this takes you up until your 30-day mark, and I'll come back with what to do once you hit your 30-day mark and how to plan a good packing list for your first Disney cruise. Until then, go out and find your magic. Bye-bye.